My Mortal Kombat review got a lot of hate, but one guy did request that I review The Night Comes For Us, and seeing as it's been on my list for about 3 years now, I thought it would be rude not to oblige. So here is my review and a little bit of fight scene analysis for you thrown in. My god, why has this taken me so long to watch this masterpiece of martial arts violence? It's a beautiful example of martial arts done well in a movie. Let's start with the basics. The plot is simple and purely exists to create a framework for people to fight. Joe Taslim plays Ito, a top level enforcer for the Triads. Rather than murder a small girl in cold blood as ordered, he turns his back on that life and goes on the run in an attempt to save both him and the girl. This makes the Triads send his old friend Ariane, played by Iko Uwais, to kill him. There's not much else you can say about the plot. Some might say they'd prefer something a little more meaty, but personally I think in an action film like this, the plot largely should just exist to create a framework for the action to unfold within, and the plot here does that just fine. You know exactly who the good guys and the bad guys are and their motivations. You don't really need much else beyond that. The cast is absolutely top draw, with most of them being alums of the Raid series. Joe Taslim and Iko Uwais are probably the best martial arts actors around right now in terms of genuine martial arts skills and acting prowess, and here they give really good performances in both categories. The supporting cast are also excellent, with Julie Estelle and Zach Lee being the standouts. Zach Lee particularly channeling his inner meth head and giving a stunning performance as the deranged drug-addled Bobby. Apparently a sequel with Julie Estelle's character The Operator is in the works, and I am absolutely down for that. But the real star here is the martial arts choreography and how that is shot, being in my opinion a perfect example of how fights should be framed in a film. The first fight that introduces Ariane is the perfect way to explain what I mean and how the cinematography helps not only tell the story but enhances the fight choreography. We enter a room with Ariane and us looking to the left and seeing 4 goons sat next to the wall, with the camera panning around the back of Ariane's head, showing us a man sitting holding an obviously distressed woman by the hair, and another goon standing in front of the table. In other words, setting the scene. We as the audience know the layout of the room and the threats, where they are coming from and what they are. Next, the man starts piling dignities on Ariane. We know what is coming here. Oh yeah, that glass and wine bottle are absolutely going to be a weapon. That guy's going to literally and figuratively eat it. One last pan of the camera to see where the goons are and back to Ariane brooding. One last dignity and BAM! The glass is flat palmed into the obnoxious man's face. Takes us around a minute and change to even get to any fighting, with the director building tension and anticipation, setting the scene. That's something this film does beautifully throughout, having set up, build up, and then a lot of the time a quite literal explosive payoff. It's now that the cinematography and fight choreography combine to enhance the fight. The camera cuts so that we can see Ariane spin kick the goon standing next to the table in the face, before once again panning to the 3 goons we know are sat next to the wall. Always keeping Ariane, and therefore the action, in the centre of the frame, panned out so that we can see everything that is happening, and most importantly, see the fight choreography. Only panning in and out or left or right to follow the fight and enhance the violence on display. With all the goons dispatched, Ariane slowly saunters over to the obnoxious man, finally using the bottle first on a goon and then to stab the guy in the leg. 2.5 minutes of top-notch martial arts and cinematography, using the camera and cuts to first set up the fight and then giving it space to breathe, only using pans and cuts to enhance and follow the fight. Compare that to this fight from the new Mortal Kombat movie. Good God, it's awful. I wish I was harsher on this now after seeing The Night Comes For Us. The amount of cuts and pans and changes of camera angles is so obnoxious and ruins rather than enhances the fight choreography, because it's almost impossible to follow what the hell is going on. Like I said in my review of that film, it's stroke inducing. Although not an actual tournament fighter film, The Night Comes For Us does have a kind of tournament fighter structure to the fights, with the first fight being against 4 faceless goons, and each subsequent fight getting bigger and more bloody until the very last big boss fight between Ito and Ariane at the very end. Last but not least is the gore on display. Just look at the state of Ito and Ariane here at the end of their fight, and they aren't even dead. Some of the fatalities on show are off the scale levels of dark and gory, and I loved them. It is not often you get to see a man have a foot part sawn off by an angle grinder before being stabbed in the chest by a cow bone. So that was The Night Comes For Us, an absolute masterpiece of martial arts violence, having a wonderful cast, brilliant fight choreography that is captured perfectly by the cinematography. Is anywhere doing martial arts action films as well as Indonesia right now? Because I haven't seen many movies that come close to this one. The only one that really comes to mind is The Raid, which is, also an Indonesian film. So if you liked that, please like, comment and subscribe.